In this video, I'm going to give a case study on my client Jake, who's quite literally eating 3,600 calories, 500 grams of carbs a day, and absolutely peeled. So he started with me eating 300 grams of carbs and 3,000 calories, and I was able to guide his body along and eating more food and getting absolutely shredded. So I'm going to give my initial consultation, week by week, the actual updates I made for Jake's plans, and I'm also going to highlight certain key points in his journey that are important in understanding what I do and why we do it. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online fitness professional. I've helped career-driven men break fat loss plateaus, get to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been using actual higher-level forms of nutrition, metabolism manipulation, and actual metrics and KPIs to make decisions. So I specialize in metabolic priming, and I have quite literally helped dozens of guys get to the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been predictably and sustainably using metabolic priming. So I specialize in high-level forms of nutrition, but the purpose of this exact video is to show the transformation my client Jake made actually eating more food to get shredded. So this is a picture that he sent to me not too long ago, and he is looking pretty dang good. So let's get right into today's video. So going over my initial consultation with Jake, we kind of broke down his days of eating. 5 eggs, oats, fruits PB, stacked meal prep service. He didn't have any actual structure around what he was eating, right? So he came to me, he's like, I want to get shredded, needs more accountability to actually have a correct plan in place, because a lot of guys who come with me, they have the motivation and discipline, but they're not confident in the actual plan that they have, which leads to lack of motivation and lack of discipline. So, and then he wanted education to understand what he was doing and why he's doing it. A lot of my clients come to me in that exact same position too. They want to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it because they've been so confused for so long. So we give them the actual utensils they need, step-by-step process to utilize the program, and they're able to learn along the way as well, which is a very important part of our program. But in my initial consultation with Jake, I came to the conclusion that his fat intake was way too high and is causing lethargy, which is he's kind of a little bit tired, poor digestion, hard to get up in the morning, and has never had really tracked macronutrients before. So the importance of tracking macronutrients to the actual macromolecule of protein, carbs, and fats, because it's actually specific to what you need. If you've been to a trainer before and they've given you kind of like 30% this, 30% that, that's still not relatively exactly what you need. The body runs, everybody's body runs specifically differently, and you need a certain amount of macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats to not only build good muscle, maintain hormonal profile with your fat intake, and mitigate digestion of your fat intake as well. And then actually utilize carbs to reduce inflammation in your training, reduce brain fog in the form of glucose in the brain, and actually get your body and your BMR to go up and burn more calories at rest. So that is the purpose of carbohydrates. So if you're somebody who's restricted carbohydrates for an extreme amount of time, you've gotten stuck in a fat loss plateau, or maybe even caught in the skinny fat phase and you just look kind of gross now, this is the video for you to change your opinion, to change your shift your belief on what's actually possible and the actual correct way to go about nutrition. There's not enough information out there currently about what you actually need nutritionally wise, and it comes down to the protein, carbs, and fats. And that's how we see progress, and that's how my clients are seeing 16, 17, 20 pounds down in a week, because you nail the macronutrients, nail the hormonal profile, and there's a synergistic effect that actually happens when you do so. So we've mitigated the fat intake for him to reduce inflammation, reduce digestion, and then actually make sure that he's getting the correct hormonal profile for his body. Protein goal, we want to increase that. So protein has a higher thermic effect. So having more protein means that your body actually burns more calories in the calorie conversion digestion process. So we really need to focus on muscle building and utilize the thermic effect of protein to lean them out. So many people who try to get lean by eating not enough calories don't really understand the total benefit of actually having muscle tissue. Focus on muscle tissue has many specific benefits. One being muscle tissue is very highly glucose absorbent, is very calorie absorbent. Having more muscle tissue means you can eat more calories, means that you get leaner at a higher caloric amount, and also it increases your metabolism because it takes calories to sustain muscle tissue. It takes 8 calories to sustain 1 pound of muscle tissue, as it takes 2 calories to sustain 1 pound of body fat. So we needed to focus on muscle tissue with Jake, giving him a correct training program backed on exercise science with how to grow muscle tissue to reduce inflammation with good rest time. And that was the biggest unlocking factor for Jake, is getting into a training program that made sense and also getting into macronutrients for a specific profile. So I had him do a caloric intake maintenance assessment to really see where he was at when he started with me, so I know what to fix within his macronutrient profile, and then we want to start with upper body focus. right? And like I said, it happens really fast. Even Jake, my whole body is changing and shit because the last 2 days I haven't ate as much fat as all. And even some personal wins from Jake, getting more lean, losing love handles. But, I actually want you guys to hear from Jake himself before we kind of dive deeper into his journey. And he dropped 17 pounds in literally like 4 weeks, which is like just wicked as all get out. And now you're eating like what, like 4,000 calories and you're lean. Like,
I've probably been the leanest I've ever been. Yeah.
do you think your strength shot up pretty good?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm strong. Going to diet, I do probably what everyone else does. I cut sodas and then I drink only water. Then I would just like do chicken, fish, steak, stuff like that. But what I didn't understand was tracking it to the macro. And I mean like to each specific, not the way we've been tracking wasn't the way I was tracking before. So
Do you think that one, it was pretty easy for you to pick up the way I laid it out for you?
yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You can do it cheap, do it yourself, or you can do it right. You need to learn how to get unstuck. Adam's the person to get you out. For the people that didn't hear it in the back, Adam's the person to get you out. I'm telling you.
And he So, like Jake said, a lot of people have been either eating healthy, tracking calories, or have been with a trainer that just gives them a certain percentage. We do stuff a little more calculated. We do stuff a little bit more precise. I work with a lot of guys in the real estate, mortgage, sales, and guys that are very busy, and they need a correct actual plan and an actual structure to what they're doing. Just like for your job, you track KPIs, metrics, and you make decisions based upon those metrics. We do the exact same thing with our clients, right? And that's how Jake was able to redirect his whole hormonal profile to actually eating more food, burning more calories, building more muscle, and getting absolutely shredded. So we're going to kind of go through week by week the actual changes that Jake had made in his body, right? So 3,000 calories on 328, and this is kind of what he looked like on 328. Notice when my initial thoughts were, okay, we need to decrease a little bit more inflammation, get rid of this a little bit of, love handle area, and really just tighten his body up first, right? So his weight at this certain time was 217 pounds, as it correlates right here, 217 pounds. And I think this is really important to show you guys the actual graph and the progression graph to really get a good grasp and an understanding of metabolic priming and why what I do is so predictable, so sustainable long term, but it is consistent. It works every single time with every single one of my clients, and they are all getting absolutely peeled. All right. So getting into the next week when this check-in. So every week Jake checked in. I took a look at his physique, and I made basically my decisions on whether we should raise food, keep food the same each week. So the diets that you guys have tried in the past, maybe low-carb keto, or you simply, like I said, went to a trainer and they just kind of give you a PDF profile, what you're missing is actual updates week by week based upon the progress you're making. The calories that you eat when you start should not be the calories that you eat when you're making new progress each week. That's how you hit a plateau. How you never hit a plateau is you constantly update the macronutrients based upon the progress you're making. So every week when Jake checked in with me, I would look at his physique, I would check his strength, I would check his stamina, his energy, and then also his weight. And that's how I make my decisions based upon what we should do next, right? So within the first week, Jake already started to drop weight very fast just by getting the correct macronutrients. Like I said, he dropped 17 pounds in just 1 month, right? From the 6th to the 9th. He went from 217 to 199. So a crap ton of weight in just a month, right? But that's what happens when you get the correct macronutrients, right? So as his weight started to drop, I started to raise calories. So most people in this situation, what they would do is lower calories. And that's a ton of my clients come to me in that exact same position. They're like, oh, when I've lost weight before, I would just lower calories more. We do something the opposite. We utilize your hormonal profile to get your body to build muscle and burn more body fat, right? So on 411, he's now at 3,400 calories, right? 3,500 calories, we raised that a bit. And so when we take a look right here on 411, he was at 199, right? 199, and he's 17 pounds down, eating 500 more calories per day, right? So we continued on this track, right? He checked in with me next week. I gave him a little bit more fat. So fat is a molecule one that will help you hold the weight. So he's dropping weight extremely fast, which is not, we don't want to drop weight too fast, right? Why? It's because we want to lose fat, not muscle, right? So fat, if you raise fat intake in the human body, it'll kind of hold on to a little bit more muscle because it's a higher calorie dense macromolecule. So Jake was dropping weight really fast, so I added a little bit of fat to hold his weight a little bit better, because most people in today's society think they have a weight loss problem. They have a fat loss problem. There's a difference between the two. You do not want to lose muscle tissue. Muscle tissue has a good hormonal profile for building good metabolic structure, but it also helps with maintaining good testosterone in men. So we do not want to lose muscle mass. And you can notice like already within the first like few weeks, like he got like really, really damn lean, right? So 418, now he's at, 3,700 calories per day and like getting shredded, right? So we kept on this path. On 5-3, we raised it again. He's still pretty dang lean for being up 3,700 calories on this day when I switched him to 3,900, right? And then the next week, so we got up pretty high in weight, right? So on this date specifically, we got up to 3,900 calories, and he started to go back up to 214. So most people, when they're right here, start to go up, they'll start to back off because they want to get lean. But the thing is that the more calories you have under your belt, the more muscle tissue you have to actually solidify, the more leverage you have. So the higher we got his calories, the higher that we raised his muscle tissue and really solidified his muscle tissues, the easier it would be for him to cut, right? So we're slowly raising calories, and yes, his weight started to go up, and I said, hey, let's stick this out. We're up 900 more calories, but we're still lower than we started, right? So we started at 317, and then when we really started to dial the calories back on the 17th of May, he was at 214, still down 3 pounds, but 900 calories more to work with, as opposed to starting at 3,000 calories and going to 29, 28, 27, and now you're starting to diminish the leverage you have, right? So we started on 523, start cutting back next week, and that's when you finally hit 4,000 calories per day, right? 1,000 more calories up. His back is like, his back is getting well pronounced. He's lost the love handles, right? So he's lost the love handles. So notice, like, even within his first, check-in, how his back just absolutely blew up, right? So we were able to build good muscle tissue, and now we have more leverage to work out within calories. So we planned on after this week, and usually with my clients, after the first month, 2 months of the program, I really start to learn their body and how sensitive their body is to certain macromolecules. And so, like, I knew that this was kind of the highest we could probably get Jake. So you can kind of see from his side shot, he's getting a little bit watery, not to the point where we're in a bad area, but we have 4,000 calories to work with now. We didn't have well enough to work with, right? So on his first cut day, and this is where it starts to get crazy. On his first cut day, I started to cut, and all I did was put 20 minutes of cardio in. Because keep in mind, Jake has been doing no cardio up to this. He's eating 1,000 more calories a day, doing no cardio, and he's lean, right? And that's still down 3 pounds. So we started just adding a little bit of cardio right here on this date, right? So you can notice that not a little watery, not really tight, but look what happened next week. Boom. Back started to lean out with just 20 more minutes of cardio, right? And then what I did, I tweaked the fat down, right? From 4,000 to 3,900. And look what happened within this check-in within the next 2 weeks. So, we don't change his macronutrient profile every week, right? Because you want to be losing weight at a consistent rate, but you don't want to give up all the resources you have. You don't want to, throw out your calories right off the window, right off the bat, or do a bunch of cardio right off the bat, because then you have no more that you can work with. So we start low, we start sprinkling stuff in, and if like his body's making progress each week, we just keep it the same, right? So on 620, that's when it started to get like pretty crazy, right? So we lowered the fat 10, and then since in 2 weeks, he goes, whoosh, boom. He's now eating 3,700 calories. His back looks absolutely disgusting, no love handles, and he's eating 3,700 more calories, right? And so what I did, I lowered the fats just a little bit more, 3,700 to 3,600. Boom. Started to lean out even more. And then we added a little bit of steps, right? So on 725 or on 327, 627 was like the last time we had to lower calories, right? So we did not lower calories for Jake from 627 to, 725 in almost a month. We just kind of rode it out, right? So he was at 3,600 calories till the 18th. And we just changed last week. We added a little bit more steps and lowered a little bit a little bit of carbohydrates. And like he hasn't checked in yet, but like it's going to be disgusting, right? But like on 627, we lowered the fats a little bit. 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks later, without even touching macronutrients, without even touching calories, he comes in absolutely peeled, like absolutely peeled, eating 3,600 calories per day. And like, not only that, but here's the crazy part. He's eating 3,600 calories and he dropped to 194, right? Because when he checked in, we were just like, okay, like, you're still losing weight. Like, there's no reason for us to change anything. So for a month, we kept him at 3,600 calories, and he continued to lose weight. And he just checked in the other day on the 25th at 194. And so we made the decision to add a little bit more steps and actually lower carbohydrates, right? So this is just a clear example on how metabolic priming works. Why is it so consistent? Because one, if we would have started Jake at 3,000 calories and we're like, hey man, let's get you lean. Third at 29, 2,800 calories, 26. Instead, we did it right, and now he's eating 600 more calories a day than when he started, and he's absolutely freaking peeled, strongest he's ever been. That is why this process is so consistent. It works every time. You start with where you're at, work the basal metabolic rate up, increase the hormonal profile, and then we slowly lower it back and get absolutely peeled. That's how my clients, like my client Phil just hit the 80-pound mark today. That's how you lose a consistent amount of weight, and that's how you get shredded. And being able to get shredded at a higher caloric amount means you can stay there for longer, right? Imagine being shredded at 3,600 calories versus where you're at right now trying to get shredded at 1,700 calories. How much easier would it be if you had 2,000 more calories to work with every single day so you didn't have to starve, right? This is why metabolic priming is so predictable and why every single one of my clients are just getting absolutely freaking peeled, right? Andres, 1,000 more calories a day. His gut has completely subsided. Tristan, 1,300 more calories per day. Mason, 1,300 more calories per day. Reese just blew his back out of the water. And then even like some of my other clients like Ben, who just lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Nathan, who lost 15 pounds in 1 month. Like, what I do is predictable, it's consistent, and it works every single time, right? So if you've been trying unsustainable diets and you've been wondering why it's not working for you, why you can't ever see sustainable progress, maybe you need to dive deeper in and see what you actually need calorie-wise. Right now in today's industry, in today's society, is one of the most important times to actually understand what you need nutritionally. Because over the last 20 years, people have gotten less active, food industry has gotten more saturated, and people have gotten more out of shape for that specific reason. And it's only going to get worse. You need to know what you need to eat every single day. You need to know what the macronutrients that are associated for you are. Because if you don't learn, and you never will, and you never do, and stuff keeps getting worse, who's going to teach your kids, who's going to be alive in 20 years, while the food industry keeps going down and society gets more and more less active? Who's going to teach your kids these things? So you need to understand. And if you've been struggling, just simply get lean and you want to feel better, you want to feel good, and you want to get lean and finally break a fat loss plateau, this will change your life. This will be the reason that gets you unstuck. Like Jake said, this will get you unstuck. What I do differently than most coaches is actually use your hormonal profile, KPIs, data, and metrics, and weekly check-ins to actually make the progress you're looking to get. Every single one of my clients is making predictable progress, and that is how we get you lean. So that is why metabolic priming is the most efficient, predictable, and sustainable way of actually losing body fat. If you guys are struggling to get lean, you're watching this right now in the shadows, sign up for a time down below. I will leave my link. Do not wait on this. If you've been waiting 2 years, 3 years, you've been stuck in a plateau for 2 months, 3 months, why wait any longer? Waiting is only going to keep you more stuck. You're going to just keep kicking this can down the road. So if you're actually struggling to get lean, you're struggling with confidence, you're struggling with getting that body fat off, you're struggling with digestive issues, energy levels, you go out to eat with some friends and your weight spikes the next day because your metabolism's absolutely shot, sign up for down below. We'll get on a call together. We'll sit down and see where you're at, where you're looking to get, and I'll see what's stopping you from getting there. And if I'm 1000% confident I can help you, I will build you out some higher level strategy, show you what it would look like for you to use metabolic priming to get lean, and show you what it look like to work with me one-on-one and be a part of my program with the other 70 guys that are in it right now. So that is today's video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.